you okay, sir? One more step and you were in the drink.
Ian. Oh.
Pardon?
It's me, Captain Obo. Obo! Proud commander of the just as proud Crystal. So don't you, sir, me.
Well, delighted. Captain, I'm Kate Walker. I'm looking for Steiners, the clockmaker.
If I fall in the water, Taylor, it'll be to go straight to hell. So don't fall in the water, Sail. You understand? Bastard's waiting for me.
Who are you talking about?
The monster of the lake is waiting for us all, miss. Everyone's time comes eventually. To finish the work. Come on, back in the fight. Because you can never lower your guard. Never.
A tavern.
Someone's...
Excuse me, please, miss.
Yes?
I'm looking for Simon Steiners.
Simon Steiner is my grandfather. My name is Sarah. Sarah Steiner.
Pleased to meet you, Sarah. I'm Kate Walker. Can you tell me where I can find your grandfather's workshop?
Of course. You'll find his shop is at the end of the alleyway, on the left, just as you leave it, in the main avenue. Can I ask what you want with him? Because he's rather old, you know.
I'm accompanying the Ucal caravan. Apparently your grandfather is supposed to be making a mechanical prosthesis for Kirk, their spiritual chief, who had a bad accident recently. Without the artificial leg, Kirk won't be able to go along with the great migration of his people. And on top of that, the Ucals won't leave without their guide.
You're accompanying the Ucals? My God, you're so terribly lucky. When I was little, Grandfather used to tell me all about their adventures, full of mystery and magic.
You seem to like the Ucals, Sarah. I get the impression that's rare in Valsambor.
It's true that when it comes to the Ucals, people around here can be a bit silly. They go out of their way to make the nomad scapegoats for all of the town's problems since they got stuck here.
But you don't, do you?
Of course not. Grandfather told me that he has actually seen 3 or 4 of the great ostrich migrations in his lifetime, and he always really respected those strange people. He even made sure I would admire them too, you know.
I guess you're pretty close to your grandfather?
Yes. Of course he can get a bit grumpy, especially the last few years. But he's actually really adorable, and you should see the work he does. Give him a few cogs and springs, and he'll give you some unbelievably incredible invention. He almost makes mechanical objects seem alive.
I see exactly what you mean. I used to know someone like that too.
The only problem we have is that business collapsed when he got sick. I really do believe that if I didn't have the waitressing jobs to make ends meet, we'd probably have to close up shop.
Do you like life in Valsambor?
Oh, there's really not that much to talk about here, you know. I spend all my time here or with Grandfather since he got sick.
There was no one who could keep an eye on him for you?
We can't afford it, I'm afraid. I also think I prefer it this way. My grandfather is my only family.
Thank you for your help.
I'll be stopping in to see Grandfather on my next break. Maybe I'll see you there.
Yes, I hope so. Goodbye, Sarah. Hello. Are you Mr. Steiner? I'm sorry to bother you, Mr. Steiner. My name is Kate Walker, and I've come to pick up the prosthesis for Kirk, the Yukel spiritual guide.
And well, dear Miss Walker, Dr. Efimova has informed me that the young man was not yet in any sort of condition to withstand the operation, and that...
Mr. Steiner, are you all right?
It is impossible. That pendant you have around your neck. I would be very obliged if you would entrust me with it for a moment. Please, Miss Walker. Mein Gott! An XZ-2000 automaton heart in perfect working condition! A compensating spring memory, pendulum ventricles, and small mechanical pumps! Everything seems in excellent condition. Donnerwetter! Where on earth did you steal this, Miss Walker?
I did not steal it. It's a souvenir. It's all I have left of Oscar, a very dear friend.
Ah, so. And yet I am actually very familiar with this type of precision mechanism. An infernal precision. Incredible, unique expertise. For this was a Vorarlberg automaton, Miss Walker.
Yes. It was Hans Vorarlberg who designed this object. Tell me, did you know him?
Oh, yeah. He even lived here a few years. We did a lot of work together. He taught me so many different things, you know. So it is useless to try and make up silly stories, Miss Walker. And I am afraid that I am not about to allow you to leave here as long as you have not told me the truth about where this object comes from.
Mr. Steiner, Oscar was a very special automaton. He inspired almost human emotions. But today he doesn't exist. He isn't dead, of course. Because what has never lived cannot die. Oscar was just dismantled. It had to be like that. All that I have left of him is that heart, a heart made of metal.
It's far more than just a heart, miss. It's far more like a kind of mechanical hard drive. A computer that is full of cogs, gears, and springs, but...
Mr. Steiner, are you all right?
My heart... need... my medication! Quickly!
Just don't move. I'll go and get your medication right away. Going by the smell, I'd say this cup was recently used for tea. All that clattering must get really tiring after a while. All that clattering must get really tiring after a while.
Thank you for your precious help, my dearest Miss Walker. I'm afraid I may have judged you somewhat hastily.
Don't mention it, Mr. Steiner. Tell me about the prosthesis. I need to take it back to Kirk very quickly, if, of course, you agree to let me have it.
Yeah. I just have a few small adjustments to make. It involves very precise and meticulous mechanics, understand?
Will it take long? I'm sorry to insist, but I also have to give a hand to those unfortunate Yukals. I need to help them get across the lake with their herd of ostriches. I'm so worried about them.
Once the mechanical leg is at last ready, I can go to the clinic and bring back young Kirk to you. That way you only have to worry about what happens to the other Yukals.
That's so nice of you, Mr. Steiner. But why are you doing this?
I wasn't extremely nice to you earlier. And also, the way the Yukals are treated by the other townsfolk here, in my own town, disgusts me. So I want to help those poor devils, even if I am in no way absolutely certain they should be crossing the lake.
What on earth's the matter, Mr. Steiner?
The next stage of your journey is the poor cursed town of Baranor. It has become hell on earth since the time of the last great ostrich migration.
Please join me downstairs for a moment, Miss Walker. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Look just next to the films there, Miss Walker. You should find a film on Baranor. When you found the old film reel, run it through the spool on the projector.
Baranor.
Baranor, the cursed city. Baranor, the martyred town. Baranor has been nothing but a field of ruins and desolation since a week after the explosion of reactor number 3 in the nuclear power plant. Baltimore is on the other side of the lake, sheltered from the prevailing winds, and fortunately it seems to have been spared from the deadly radioactive clouds. Our town was mobilized to go to the aid of our neighbors. Although our town's means were modest when compared to such catastrophe, there were nonetheless among us some brilliant mechanical engineers. In record time, they developed a small army of automatons capable of helping the affected people. Those men and dogs of steel could go where a human could no longer set foot without becoming seriously ill. Over there, they could be excavators, rescue workers, and stretcher bearers.
Oscar! They all look like him.
Truly magnificent pieces, Nishtvar. The XZ-2000 model is most assuredly one of Hans's major masterpieces.
Their mission was to bring back any survivors of the catastrophe to Baltimore, where the victims would receive the best care in Dr. Zemyatine's clinic. The Crystal, the ferry usually responsible for linking the towns of Baltimore and Baranor every day, carried the new type of rescuers to the scene of the drama, and brought back the survivors of the catastrophe.
So Baranor suffered the ravages of a nuclear accident. But according to that film, the automatons you designed with Hans should have helped save lots of lives, right?
I'm afraid that's not how things went. Because of Captain Obo, who... Ah, that must be Sarah. Please come this way, Miss Walker. I'll introduce you. Miss Walker, may I introduce you to Sarah, my granddaughter?
We've actually already met. Haven't we, Sarah?
I actually owe Miss Walker a candle. Thanks to her calmness and peace of mind, I'm still here and on my feet. She found my medication and gave it to me before it was too late. Donnerwetter.
You don't mean you had another attack, do you? Ah, you're being so very naughty, Grandfather. You absolutely must let Dr. Zemyatine examine you.
Come on, stay calm, my little child. When I go to the clinic to take the prosthesis to the young Yukol, I'll stop by and see the good doctor. Until then, why don't you make yourself really useful to Miss Walker? She's looking for some way to transport the Yukol caravan to the other side of the lake.
Well, I think I've already found the solution. The boat in the film, the Crystal, it must be the ship that's docked in the port. If it was able to transport the automatons you and Hans built, it could carry the ostriches across the lake.
Ah, that's not a bad idea. But unfortunately, there's a slight problem of size, dear Miss Walker.
Sounds like you're talking about Captain Obo's alcoholism. I saw him earlier on the dock.
That coward has been hiding himself in alcohol ever since he abandoned our automatons to Baranor. and he'd rather simply die than go back. He tells everybody that the evil monster of the lake is waiting for him, and that as soon as he goes back on the water, the beast will just up and grab him. Ha 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 ha. But of course, that is the purest fantasy.
Grandfather, I know you're still really angry with Captain Obo because he abandoned the automatons that you built with your friend Hans and Baranor. He was supposed to wait for them. They were going to take all the survivors they found in the rubble to the boat and then bring everyone here to safety in Valsambor. But in the end, when he got to the beach at Baranor and saw the disaster and all the dead, he became really afraid. The disease, the radiation. He must have had an uncontrollable panic attack, so he immediately turned back, dumped the machines on the crystal into the lake, and came back empty-handed to Valsambor. And the automatons have been there ever since, in hell. But who knows? Maybe today he'll want to sell. I'm sure Kate will be capable of convincing him to help the Yukels. I have to go do my waitressing shift in the tavern. Come by and see me later on, okay? Captain Obo will be there.
All right, then. I'll try and convince Captain Obo. Thank you for everything, Mr. Steiner.
I don't know if I really should wish you good luck, dear Miss Walker. Baranor is only an open grave now.
Are you still angry at Captain Obo for abandoning your automatons?
Yeah. Hans and I put an awful lot of energy into making them all, you know. We thought of everything.
How so?
Our automatons were designed to tirelessly go through all the rubble, piece by piece, in search of survivors, administer first aid, and then take them back to the beach so that they could be safely embarked on the crystal. But because of Obo, none of that ever happened.
How did you meet Hans Wahlberg?
I met dear Hans when he had just arrived here in Valsambor, 20 years ago.
What was he doing in the region?
Oh, he didn't seem to have any particular reason. Always traveling. He stopped off here and there, then left again when the feeling came.
What exactly happened in Baranor?
An accident in reactor number 3. Negligence. Faulty maintenance. What do I know? Anyway, one spark was all it took, and then total chaos. The rare survivors were brought back here to the Valsambor Clinic.
So you and Hans decided to build an army of automatons to help all the people who were left behind still stuck in the rubble in Baranor.
Yeah. Hans thought that helping the town that had opened its arms to his amusement park was a duty, and we would have managed to do it in the end, too, if only that coward Obo hadn't left our automatons to rust because of his so-called lake monster. The evil monster of the lake. Stories to scare small children with, Miss Walker. Not an excuse for cowardice. Mein Gott.
Thank you for your help.
You take care of finding a way for the ostriches to cross the lake, Miss Walker. I'll finish the prosthesis and take it to Kirk.
No Yukols in Valsambor! The shopkeepers can't take it anymore! The shopkeepers are on strike!
There have been 10 thefts from my shop since those savages showed up! Mr. Mayor, who's gonna pay?
Mr. Mayor! Do your job and come out onto the balcony! The voters...
Excuse me. What's happening here?
Isn't it obvious? We're demonstrating against having the Yukon nomads parked on our doorsteps.
But what for?
Since they came to Valsambor, there's been no end to the shoplifting and vandalism, and on top of that, their souk is taking our customers. Mayor Bulyakin has to do something, and fast. We're not leaving until he receives our delegation.
But why won't the mayor talk to you?
Because he's a schmuck. He wants the nomads to continue their migration as much as us, but he's too afraid of annoying his higher-ups. And while he's gaining time by playing both sides of the board, we're watching our sales go through the floor.
The authorities are asking the mayor to prevent the migration from continuing? They want the Yukols to stay blocked in Valsambor?
That's what people are saying, but if you want my opinion, the only thing the mayor is waiting for is someone to get rid of those savages without him having to get his hands dirty. The captain is just there, next to the fireplace. Try to take it easy with the captain, Kate. He isn't having a great day.
Captain Obo?
What do you want?
I need to speak with you. You're still the owner of the Crystal.
What are you talking about, little lady?
The Crystal. Your boat.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Which boat now?
I'm talking about the Crystal.
That's it. Yeah, it's my boat. Boat. I mean, hypothetic. It belongs to the bank, the Crystal.
To be honest, actually, I need that boat, Captain Obo.
Well, isn't that just great news now, miss? I mean, gotta see. What are we talking about again?
The Crystal? The boat that's in the port you know very well.
Oh, okay. That one too?
Your boat, yes. That ferry that you commanded for so many years?
But which one?
Oh, just forget it. I'll come back later.
Is everything okay, Kate?
Not really. I'd like to ask Captain Obo if the Yukol caravan can go on board his boat to cross over to Baranor. But I can't get a straight answer. He's completely sloshed.
I'm sorry, miss, but I really think you're wasting your time. He's getting drunk again to forget his crimes, like he always does. To forget he wasn't brave the way a captain should be. Can you believe it? In Baranor, he just picked up and abandoned his passengers. And I know, he'll never want to see that cursed place again.
I'm not sure that's true, lad. Even if he does drink a lot, the captain's a pretty good guy. Say the right thing, and you may be able to convince him.
If I'm ever lucky enough to find him sober, even for a moment, I need that drunkard to listen to me.
Maybe I can help you with that. I'll make him one of my famous small restoratives. After that, he'll want to sleep for 3 days, but at least his mind will be clear.
You know the captain better than I do. What can you tell me that will help me to convince him?
One thing's for sure, he definitely hates himself for abandoning all of those people to their fate over there in Baranor. All of those men, women, and children that Grandfather's army of automatons was going to rescue and bring back on board the Crystal. He has the impression nobody here will ever forgive him, and to be perfectly honest, he's not far wrong. Plus, he's also racked with guilt. So in my opinion, avoid criticizing him.
Has Captain Obo taken the Crystal out of port since leaving Baranor?
He's been far too drunk ever since then for that.
And anyway, the port's been closed since the tragedy of Baranor 20 years ago.
Do you think the Crystal is still in sailing condition after all this time?
I'm sure there'll be a few repairs to do, but Obo never stopped keeping it in shape, you know. He loves his boat, despite everything.
Who knows what became of the victims and automatons the captain abandoned?
No, everybody hates the captain for that. But nobody volunteered to take the helm of the Crystal in his place to pick up the survivors. If there are any left in Baranor. They're all dead now, that's for sure.
Grandfather says that the automatons would have broken down really quickly with nobody to maintain them.
Do you know why Captain Obo fled Baranor?
He must have been completely traumatized by what he saw there. The catastrophe, the victims, and then the radiation. He unloaded the automatons on the beach, but he didn't expect they'd bring the survivors back right then. He just cracked, completely snapped. Full astern and goodbye all. Can you even imagine?
Afterwards, he came up with that story of a sea monster appearing and attacking his boat.
Yes, the old legend of the monster of the lake. Convenient, isn't it? Go see the captain. Sarah will bring you the restorative when it's ready.
Go and talk to Captain Obo. I'll bring you his restorative. Take this, Captain. This one's on the house.
My God! This pisswater unbattens the hatches, swabs the deck, and opens the portholes. Hello, miss.
My name is Kate Walker, Captain Obo. We met each other earlier.
To what do I owe the honor of your presence at the table of the regrettably famous Captain Obo?
This is good news, Captain. You're back at the starting block again. You have a new beginning, a new dawn.
Haha! Now that's a good show of spirit, Miss Walker. What'll you be having now? It's my round.
I'd rather you listen to me. You're my only hope of finding a solution to my problem.
Do tell me about it, please, miss.
Because the Yukals and their ostriches are stuck here in Valsumbor, it's causing a serious problem among the people in your community. Plus, the nomads have to continue their great journey. Only you, Captain Obo, can defuse the situation by taking them on board the Crystal.
You're very wrong, Miss Walker. Everybody will tell you that I'm incapable of giving a hand to anyone.
You're right, Captain. It's safe to say that people don't have a particularly high opinion of you. But I think you're afraid to know where I want to take the Yukals.
Oh, listen to her. All right then. Tell me where Miss Walker actually wants me to take her in my old tub.
To Baranor.
I'm a broken man because of what I saw back there that night, miss. A sad wreck of a man, really. And you're asking me to go back. Back there. Back to hell. I saw the hellish red eyes of the monster of the lake. Beast as big and long as my boat. Ask your Yukal friends what they think about it. They call it the Kilak, the evil spirit of the lake. The devil guarding the doorway to hell.
Well, let's just look at it like a second chance. What do you say?
No. Never.
In that case, I'll buy the crystal.
What makes you think she's up for sale?
You've left her in the port to rot. She's completely run down. You haven't the money to keep her shipshape. I have money, and I need that ferry.
She's a ferry, not a liner. The girl wants to take the helm of the crystal. Now I've heard everything.
I know that if the Proud Crystal had an equally proud commander at her helm, things would go better. But as you don't want to go on a voyage...
All right. You can get your gang of little savages and board the crystal. I'll take you.
Oh, thank you, Captain, really, with all my heart. And thank you on behalf of the Yukals.
Oh, but be careful now, Captain Girl. You're not there yet. There are 2 conditions, and they aren't negotiable. First, we stop by Narodas. It's a little town just a bit south of Baranor. That will mean we avoid the most radioactive zones, but it won't actually take you too far off your path. And second, we also sail by day. I'm not going to finish up on the lake monster's plate. And it sleeps during the day. The beast is usually a bit of a night owl anyway.
I accept, Captain Obo.
In that case, all hands on deck now, sailor, because we've got work to do before we can hoist the anchor.
Come on, Kate. You hurry off and meet with the captain before he changes his mind. I'll go tell Grandfather to join you on board the Crystal with Kirk.
Thank you, Sarah.